Good morning. Today I have brought you another book or document. The Ethiopian Patriots Association, a Pan-Africanist association, having learned that I started this YouTube channel which reviews books, Pan-African books, sent me a document that introduces their association and its activities. So I went through this bilingual document, which is both in Amharic and in English, and I just would like to share the insights. This book was, or this document was prepared for the 129th victory of Adwa against Italy. This victory of Ethiopia, of Africa, of black people, which mobilized Pan-African movements, was 129 years old last year. The association, the Ethiopian Patriots Association, located in Addis Ababa, headquarters located in Addis Ababa, was founded in 1931 and it's a political organization. At the opening, we see the message of President Taye Asqassalasse, the President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. And the President, in his message, celebrates the Adwa victory and calls for black unity, as the Adwa victory also initiates that. And he says this victory inspired black people to struggle against colonialism and oppression. And it restored human dignity. As all people and all black people and all oppressed people's victory, this victory, according to our president, should be celebrated everywhere where the celebrants are located. And just the new generation in Ethiopia, Africa and beyond should be cultivated with good values. And Ethiopian youth should be cultivated with good Ethiopian values. Next to that is a message or an interview with Lijdan Eljote Mesfen, the president of the Ethiopian Patriots Association. He's also the son of Ras Mesfen, who was a patriot who took the Emperor Haile Selassie from the Maicho War, where mustard gas and poison gas was used to kill Ethiopian patriots, to Addis Ababa. So he was taking the emperor from Maicho to Addis Ababa. So his father was a patriot. So now he's a patriot leader, the leader of the Patriots Association. So he says 3 holidays are celebrated: the Yekkatit 12, or the February 20 or so victory of the massacre of Ethiopians in Addis Ababa by fascist Graziani, and the Patriots Day or Victory Day, we'll talk about this, and the Adwa Victory Day. So these 3 days are celebrated by the association nationally. He calls for peace among Ethiopians, and he calls upon us Ethiopians to use our life for a purpose and for our country, like our fathers and forefathers, mothers did. He is planning to promote Pan-African and the association's Ethiopian values through magazines and publishing and radio and TV programs in the future. The association, according to him, visited the President Office, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia's President Office. So he gives us a message that the association is still striving to coordinate Ethiopians towards unity and towards patriotic activities that serve the needs of the country. Next is a part on our anti-colonial wars. Emperor Theodorus II fought the British early on, identifying and learning that the imperialists were trying to control Africa and the Black world. Emperor Theodorus fought against their hidden agenda, and he sacrificed his life in 1868, I think, when the British sent an army by Sir General Robert Napier. Next is Emperor Johannes IV, who fought against the Anglo-Egyptians and tried to keep Ethiopia free. One of his commanders, Ras Alula, was also victorious against the Italians at Dogali. Italians have a monument in Italy in remembrance of their martyrs at the Battle of Dogali. This is way back before the Adwa victory by Emperor Johannes, who was before Emperor Menelik. Emperor Menelik in Pan-Africanism. Emperor Menelik wrote the Europeans a letter opposing the Berlin Conference of the partition of Africa. Africa, whose old name was Ethiopia, to him is not for sale or to be divided along lines. He was prepared to unify Africa and to defend it. And his Adwa victory is well known and it illuminates our history. The British and the French attempt at Adwa to ally themselves was stopped by Menelik by his Pan-African alliance with the Sudanese leader. Because these two colonizers of Britain and France deterred Menelik from attacking Italy further. As it is known, there is also the issue of drought, which was caused by Italian cattle disease, Italian brought cattle disease on the Ethiopian people. Menelik stopped Cecil Rhodes' project of Cairo to Cape Town. This is one of his feats. Next comes Emperor Haile Selassie's victory of the Italo-Ethiopian War, the Second Italo-Ethiopian War, which Italians or fascist Italians initiated to avenge their loss at Adwa 40 years before that. The Yekati 12 or February 20 or so 19 victory massacre against 30,000 Ethiopians by the fascist Mussolini is also one dark part of our history. The Patriots War. In the 1930s, Ethiopians had a patriotic war against Italy for 5 years. They were controlling much of the country. That is what made Ethiopia independent. Ethiopia has never been colonized and it's independent because its patriots were controlling a large proportion of the country while the Italians were fighting to govern in the cities only where they trying to camp. So 3 types of patriots: those who are fighting within the country, those who are within the Italian structure and army and fighting in secret for Ethiopia and supporting the patriots, and third, those who are undertaking diplomatic endeavors outside the country, including the emperor, who is the commander-in-chief of the army. There is a monument in Addis Ababa to remember the Yekati 12 massacre and the people who lost their life. This is a reminder that fascism should not be resurrected. The fascists eliminated the educated, the patriots, and the people who would modernize Ethiopia, so to prevent Ethiopia's development. Next to this, because after the fall of Haile Selassie's regime, Emperor Haile Selassie's regime in 1974, the Victory Day or the Adwa Victory Day was not being celebrated by the Ethiopian army. You know, the Ethiopian army was just prides itself for being the inheritors of the Adwa victory, the inheritance of the Second Italo-Ethiopian Wars victory, and all the armies, the Black Lions, the Holeta Academy, military academy graduates. You know, they are proud of that. So they were celebrating the Adwa Victory Day during Haile Selassie's time. But after the downfall, the military regime did not involve the military, the army. So now, again, in the last few years, it has started after 40 or so years, after 40 or 50 years, yeah. So the commander-in-chief of the army, or just a general, an army general, General Alam Shaddagifi, has been interviewed by the Ethiopian Patriots Association. So he has very interesting insights on Ethiopianism, on keeping the country united, on how to fight divisive elements, international imperialist divisive elements, in my understanding. The founding of the association by itself to him is a great idea. He points out that founders of this association were killed by coups in the Haile Selassie time. In the 1960 coup, Ras Ababa Aragai was killed, and Ras Masfen was killed in the 1974 coup by Mengistu Haile Mariam and his comrades. Patriots are treated this way in Ethiopia, he says. So this erodes patriotic feelings and patriotic projects. So, as to him, something should be done to record and remember the guerrilla warfare. We now hear that Ethiopians fought for their freedom, for their country, but we do not know which place, who fought, and using what guns, using what strategies. So this should be documented using different means. So documentation is an important element for him, an important project, rather. Focus or extreme focus on ethnicity weakened Ethiopian patriotism, according to him, or Ethiopian feeling. Everyone is seeking heroes from his area or from his nationality, as a result forgetting Ethiopian heroes. On the focus on unity, he states when he was studying in Russia that how the Russians became one country through a visionary leader. But later on, when international pressure divided the country, only Russia is there and the others are gone. Now, even to date, Ukraine-Russian war is waged, and the West makes them fight with one another. So if you are divided, this will be the fate of many countries. Fellow Africans tell us that our struggle, our country inspired them, yet we are divided. This is really a paradox to him. It's like the era of the prince's time. Before Emperor Theodorus, the one who sacrificed himself fighting, just the one who committed suicide fighting the British, Emperor Theodorus II. Before him, Ethiopia was really divided. It was united before, but it was divided among princes. The era of the princes. He's referring to that. Now, it is the time which is like the era of the princes. The divisive policies of the Italians played a role in dividing Ethiopia along ethnic lines. The Nile issue and Egypt are also another divisive one. But Nile waters should be used equitably, and if we have enough resources, Ethiopia should also develop itself. If you are dividing yourself, if you are founding a party, even a resistance movement for which organizes people of your village, Ethiopia's enemies are ready to help, he says. But we should gain unity by our hard work. The next one is Pan-Africanism, ideas on Pan-Africanism. The Adwa victory is a Pan-African victory, and it is after that Pan-African movement started. Menelik had a vision of Africa for Africans. After he heard America for Americans, from an American envoy, he heard this. So he says, oh, I like that idea. So Africa for Africans, Europe for Europeans, he liked it. So this Adwa victory of defeating an invader gave Africans the energy, the courage, the stamina to defend themselves. The London Pan-African Conference of 1900 was a significant move, which was initiated by diaspora Africans. You know, they have a great role. Africans who were taken during the slave trade, whose ancestors were taken during the slave trade, and who suffered the Atlantic Passage, African diaspora. They organized the Pan-African Conference in 1900, and Ethiopia took part in that by her representative Benito Sylvain, who was an emissary of the Haiti president to Menelik. The two had a project. They were envisioning a project, a certain secret project whose details we don't know, maybe a Pan-African unity. So this guy was representing Ethiopia and Haiti at the London conference. So he had a mission to connect Ethiopia here from the motherland Africa and Haiti from the diaspora. Menelik's Africa for Africans doctrine and the details, because Menelik was trying the first Pan-African alliance with the Sudanese leader to stop the Cecil Rhodes project of Cape Town to Cairo, to stop the Europeans from cooperating amongst themselves, the French and the British, to avert his victory on the Italians. He cooperated with the Sudanese leader, and also by sending his army to the southern Ethiopia to control different border areas so that the imperials would not invade. So this is his colonialists would not invade. This is one of his strengths. Dr. Vitalian, who was a Menelik's doctor, represented Ethiopia at the Second Pan-African Conference. William Ellis promoted also this Pan-African unity. He is a messenger from the United States to Ethiopia. The Ethiopian World Federation, this is also an interesting one, a movement of the diaspora to support Ethiopia. During the Second Italo-Ethiopian War, this movement played a great role to oppose invasion of Ethiopia. Rastafarianism is also a result of that. And Bob Marley was an iconic figure, the singer. The Organization of African is also the result of Pan-African movement. Now it inherits Pan-African ideals and is trying to sustain that. Menelik's planned visit to the United States was promoted in many American newspapers, but he couldn't make it due to different reasons. Next to this is an interview with Rich Daniel Jote Masfen. Earlier he had a message, and here he has an interview. He says that on restructuring the association as an NGO, different endeavors have taken place. Publishing and multimedia wing is also aimed at promoting the ideals of the association to the youth and to Ethiopians and diaspora and Africans, fellow Africans. Headquarter building, branch buildings in different corners of the country. Even workshop was held at Bahar Dar. So through workshop, branch buildings, they are trying to diversify and also trying to reach out to different corners of the country because they have members in different sections of the country. Digitization of documents is also something he raised. Cooperation with international anti-fascist associations. They cooperated with the Italian Anti-Fascist Association. They wrote a message, and the message was read there during their meeting and demonstration. Ethiopia is the founder of the UN because we were working with the Allied powers, Allied forces. We took part in the Second World War, and were aligning with the Allied powers. So for this reason, we took in the Paris Conference, and we are the founding members of the United States, the United Nations rather. Ethiopia's participation on the Second World War memorial events should be resumed because it stopped after the emperor was toppled. International relations with embassies are celebrating the victory events in Addis and other projects also is an interesting idea he raised. They are doing that. USA office, they have opened the USA office. Relations with the government, the Ethiopian government and regional governments is another issue he raised. The Adwa Memorial Building, he really appreciates it. And raising a patriotic generation. There is an Adwa Memorial Building in Addis Ababa complex. He appreciates the government's generosity in that regard, and it helps in raising a patriot generation. Education and publishing, internationalizing Pan-Africanism and Ethiopianism, he says, he raises. Next, by Mr. Talahun Tasso, a survey has been made on legislations in the past 85 years, legislations of the Ethiopian Patriots Association, so that they can use it for strategic planning. He has pointed out that the association had a lot of detailed activities, and there were revisions of the legislations, and those revisions were in line with the political ideologies of the governments, for example, the government. So they had to be modified, and they reached this stage, but without leaving the original essence. So restructuring of the association over the years just was done, and for example, Victory Day, the Derg called it Patriots Day, but Victory Day they wanted to be renamed Victory Day. This victory of the Second Italo-Ethiopian War. The next one is this is all in Amharic. Okay, summarized it. The second one is the English section. The English section is good, so that you can reach international bodies through the language. Collaboration with the National Association of Partisans, which is the Italian anti-fascist association. There was a decision on the dismemberment of the Marshal Graziani's monument in Italy. So following that, this association had moved. They took it to court. So they wanted Graziani to be remembered for his wrong deeds of killing Ethiopians, Libyans, and also for preparing the poison gas in Somalia when he was in Italian Somaliland. So the Ethiopian Patriots Association sent a message to them, a letter to them. The leader of the association, Lich Daniel, sent a letter to the association, and that was read during a demonstration. A copy of the letter is also attached here in the document. Just reflecting on the rich, next is reflecting on the rich heritage of Ethio-Americans. Mr. Talahun Tasso was invited in to the United States so that he reflected upon the rich heritage of Ethiopian Americans. His message was on the victory of Adwa, the first part, after stressing that Ethiopian-American relations, whose bridges the Ethiopian citizens who are working in the United States, our history, which was started by Consul Robert Skinner and President Roosevelt over time during his time. After he says this, he gives us an insight into Adwa, the Adwa victory. The Adwa victory had 3 phases: the Alage victory, and the Pan-African alliance between Ethiopia and Sudan. That's also a significant part, and sustainability of victory and saving the black race as a result of the victory of Adwa. And Menelik is mentioned in his message as a proactive leader who built a strong army by collaborating with the Russians and training in how to use guns, and also by exploiting the weaknesses, competitive weaknesses of the European colonizers. The Ethio-Sudanese alliance, how Menelik forged that is his strength. Siege of the Italian fortress at Mekelle, the water point. I think whenever you hear about Empress Taitu and Menelik, you learn that the siege of that played a role in the victory of Adwa. Menelik's outmaneuvering of the Italians at Adwa is also one of the major achievements. Emperor Menelik's love for literacy and his book collection activities outside this diplomatic and military endeavors is raised. The Adwa victory, illuminating our path toward a brighter, united future. This is a speech given by Professor Daniel Katawa, a member of the Patriots Association, at the Adwa Victory Day celebration in Cape Town, South Africa. So the association sends its members to oversee celebrations of the Adwa victory in Pan-African events. He says, the Adwa victory demonstrated that, united in purpose, we can overcome any challenge, no matter how formidable. It is really a very interesting illustration. The next part is from Pages of History. Impression of Consul Skinner, what the American first consul who came to Ethiopia to forge a relationship between the two countries, what he felt about Ethiopia. During the Emperor Menelik's time, he came, and what he wrote about the legations in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and he brought an agreement written by Ino Littman, an American who learned Amharic by reading books only. So he brought an agreement in Amharic to Menelik from America. So about the USA mission, they were just starting. What makes the USA mission at that time was not political; it was purely commercial. The only commercial mission, without a focus on political control. The French legation, according to him, focused on the railroad and other initiatives. The British also had commercial interests with their Indian and so on. The Russian had a medical facility, so that impressed him. Pan-Africanism and Menelik's doctrine of Africa for Africans is revised here in English. It was given before in Amharic. Ethiopia's participation in the first and second Pan-African Conference is also covered in this English part. The Ethiopian World Federation and African Union is also raised as revision, just in English, in the English section of this material. The Ethiopian Patriots Association is a very interesting association in inculcating Ethiopian values in the youth and also promoting Pan-Africanism throughout the world. So I think if you need this material, it's available in our library's Telegram channel. You can get it. The association has a bank account. You can support them. And I hope if you invite them to any Pan-African events anywhere in the world, they will send a representative. So this is the Pan-African Book Club. And I'm really glad to give you my insights and to get your ideas also. Please send me what you feel. And till I come with the next book tomorrow. This is a daily book review. I'm Mazammer, a speed reader. So we will just keep in touch, and thank you.